Alright, now let's show you the lock assembly. It's come like this piece, and inside here you will see the two spring. One go to this side and one go to this side to hold this one in place. Make sure this one clean, and we can clean it in this where the shaft go through here, and you don't need no no lubricate. Okay, it's dry. Leave it dry, so it's not gonna be collect all the lint and dust and all kind of thing in there. So after that, you can put the spring. The spring will go in the little hole right there, one on this angle and the other side on that angle. What the spring does is it's sitting there and push again the housing to put the thing in center of the place. So what you do is you leave it like this and put it right on the top right here and press it in there and then let it sit in there. Then you can then you can turn these two screws. The two screw is alignment, so the center will be right in the center. Okay, for right now you can use your eye to make sure the two screws adjust, so that will be give you the even around here. That is close. Okay, when it's close, you can put the shaft back in place. Okay, I think that's close. So I'm going to put the shaft in, and make sure when you put the shaft in, try to go in this way, because if you go the other way and if it's not in the center, you might be pushing the top out and the spring is going to be taken out there, and you go be lose it, and then you cannot find any spring to put it back in there. So make sure you go from this end in while your thumb hold the bottom there, so you can move back and forth to center long as you put the shaft in there first, and then we adjust it later. Okay, so hold this bottom and put the shaft in there and then release it. Okay, after you got the shaft in there, now you can see it around them. Now you can see around where is a high or where is the tighted, and then you can adjust these two screws. Look like this in here touch the shaft and this in here to open. So what I do is run the screw on this side in to get the even. What I can do, see right now it seems to be evenly around, and you can do that with your naked eye and see what needs to be adjusted. If you need, if up on the top right here more than the bottom, and then you need to remove the release the two screw down so they can coming down. So turn it out and just turn it out, and you make sure you do it evenly, so now you can look at inside there, it's all around, it's just about the same, and that's how you adjust it. Okay, and the correct way is when you adjust correctly, when you spin the shaft in there, you don't see any binding or anything. You see the shaft move inside of that pieces. Okay, and this piece right there, before you can see the both sides, they have a spring, and in the center, that's where the lock screw go into it. This lock knob go into that. But before, between the shaft and the lock screw, you have a what they call it pressure pieces. It's made by copper, and it about this little thick right there. I don't know, about 3 millimeter and maybe 3 millimeter diameter and 3 millimeter height. So If you're missing this, you have to find one copper about this diameter and cut the piece like that, and then you put it in that hole. The easy way for me to put it in the hole is I'm gonna get the little grease on the screw right there, and then I put the piece stick to that, and then I'm just put right into the hole. I'm just moving on this hand so you can see where it goes to right there. Go to this hole, and then you can screw this one in. It's a little bit tricky to put it in. It's a little bit tricky to put on this one in there, so you gotta make sure you put it, the piece there go down there, and then the knob go into it. Again, this knob is the kind of opposite. If you go counterclock, that means you lock, and you go clockwise, that means you release. So right now I'm going counterclock all the way, and that means it's lock the shaft in place. If I go counterclockwise like this, that remove the shaft, lock, okay? And after you put this one in there, good, just leave the shaft in there and lock that back, and then you can put the cover back in place. But what I do is, this is how you put the press piece in there, and then you can remove that, because you have to put the cover back in place, because the knob had to be go through the cover, okay? But the way you put it right here like that before, so it's easy for you to align everything. Because if you put the cover back in place before you align them, and then it's gonna be hard for you to see anything. So after that, you remove the knob, and then you clean your cover. Again, you use it, any chemical you can use it, glass cleaner, fantastic, or a lighter fluid. You clean it good as you can for your instrument, and then you clean inside, outside the same way, and then put the cover back in place. Okay. Use the wrong screwdriver, so it's hard for me to put the screw back in there. Okay, after you put the cover back, you can also put the lock knob back, and hold the shaft in place. That's good. Then you can put the other side the same way. You clean the cover, and then just put it back in place with the two screws. Alright, that's done for that one. Now we can put everything, the cover back in place. After you make sure you got this in there, and make sure you move it up and down good, and you feel good for that. If not, you can also take it apart again and clean this and put it back together again. Like I said, most of the time, if your override switch doesn't work, either the micro switch need to be replaced or the cord break somewhere else. But 99% is break it right here. So if it doesn't work, you might be check the continuity of this end and that end and see if which one is and or you can check it right here, and if the light come on and off and things like that, and then you can cut this part and then resolder the wire inside there and put it back there and use it. Okay, assume everything working good, and then we can put the cover back. Oh, by the way, before you put everything back, you can also check and see if your slit lamp movement front and back is good. And then you can put it back in there and feel it. Make sure you put the shaft in straight, because if you don't sit crooked, it's not going to be running correctly. So if you want, you can use the tape and measure from front to the back right here and see if it worked about the same. For right now, it looked like a crooked one side, so okay. This one looks like, and make sure, let's say you put it on a 2 so it's easy for you to see it. Okay, I'm going to put this right there at the 2 mark. On that side 2 mark, this side had to be 2 mark. Okay, that will be actually correctly the way it's supposed to be. Again, let's show you again one more time. Okay, put the tape in here, and let's say right here is a 2 inches on the other side, 2 inches on this side. That means the shaft is sit straight. Okay, and then you can move back and forth and see how it feels. If it feels good, that means you already cleaned your shaft and work fine. Move back and forth, front to back. Okay, that's just for check it out before you put everything back together. Okay, so now it's working. So I put it locked back in place there, and I'm going to put the top in there. So again, the button, if it's dirty, you can clean it. If you don't feel like it's not important, you don't have to clean it. But since you take it apart, might as well just clean everything. So make sure you can use any solution as long as it works for you. But I think fantastic, it cleans quicker and better. Or glass cleaner with some of degree, and then you have to use the lighter fluid to clean them. Okay, that's all we can clean on that old piece of instrument. I'm kind of looking for that one. Again, I use it fantastic to clean the Alright, also you need to clean the inside of here. Use the lighter fluid and clean inside the hole, so that make your push button move quick easily, and just drop in there like that. And when you drop it in there, you use your finger to hold it, kind of pull it back there so it stays, and then you can put the cover back in place. A lot of times it's not easy to come in because the wire here. So what you need to do is you make sure the wire is pressed in place. This need to be pushed all the way in. Okay, if it's not in, you can also use the wooden screwdriver and just tap it to make sure it's all the way in, and that way it's going to be easy for you to put everything back in place. After you put all the way down there, then you can put the 3 screw, you take it out. 2 and 3. Tight it is, you can tie it. That's it. If you want, you can also put the nail polish on the top of that, just like the old one right here, to make sure they're not coming out. And again, make sure when you do that, this has to be even around, as it can be. If one side is sit too close in there, that means you need to shim inside there, inside the part right here. Sometimes they have a little washer inside there. So when you take your cover apart, you make sure which side they have a washer, because some of the bays that come from manufacturing, they already shim some of the washer inside there to make this even around. Okay, after you put that one in there, and then you can put the lock cover, clean it out good, and put it back there. Now this ring right here is some of the base they will have it, some of them don't have it, so don't worry about it if you don't have it, because it look like this one is because it's sometimes this part, some of the part wore out, so they put this one in there to get more pressure that sit on top of that. So when this one go down there, they create the pressure on the ball, because without this pieces, without this one, you might be not able to lock the ball completely. Or see, right now it's still loose, and I already run all the way in there, still loose, and that's why they have this shim in there, the washer to shim in there to hold it in place. With that in there now, lock this one, and see, right now it's hard to move this. See, they don't even move it. That's why this one have it. You all might not have it, so don't worry about it, because you don't have it doesn't mean it's no good. It is good, because this one maybe it wore out. That's why they add that in that part in there. All right, now in order to put your elevation knob back in place, okay, a lot of time you might be not need this one. So I mean, if you run all the way in there and you still see the gap in there, and this one is stop it, just take it apart, take it and don't use it, because some of these you don't need to have it in there, period. Actually, you don't need to have it in there. Okay, you don't need to have that in here, because that just only when you stop all the way up. But when the plastic, the wire half nut plastic there, they go hit again right here, that's stop. But sometimes you put this one in there, you cannot even go to all the way down to this to hold it in play good. So I think we need to take that one off if you want to. If you don't want to, you can leave it in there. Now make sure when you run into there, you see when you run in there, you see it's not all the way down yet. There's still gap there, and they still run like this. So in order to screw that one all the way to the top, you need to find something to hold this. Okay, so either you have to have a real small ply, and then you grab the hole on that, and then you can screw this one in there. Sometimes you have to use this screw to hold it in place too. Make sure you don't lose that screw inside there, because you have to take the cover again. So when you do this, make sure you put the little grease. Put a little bit of grease on there, and then put on the top of that screw. I'll take it apart so I can tell you what I'm doing. Okay. Because sometimes you put this screw in there, it falls inside, and then now you have to take everything apart to get the screw out. In order to do that, you get the little grease on it, put it on a thing right here to hold it in place. Like that. And then you can slowly but still be careful to put it in there like this. Make sure you go in there, or you can leave it this way so if it fall out on the other side. Okay, and you see it's still got a gap in here. So what I do is I use this screw to hold it in place, and turn the nut. And like I said, if you don't have you might need to have a real thin blade of the ply, and just grab the hole there, and then just screw this knob in there as far as can be. Okay, right now they're all flat, so that's good. But somehow you need to have a ply to hold the worm gear, or the screw with the gear there, and screw the elevation knob back in place. After they all the way go in, then you can lock the set screw right here. You don't have to over tie this set screw. You just bring it in tight and then give them a hinge. And that's all you got to do about the elevation knob. And clean it again. Clean it with the lighter fluid, or you can use the Windex or glass cleaner or anything. Fantastic one. For the elevation, you can check it out by rotating it up and down. It's smooth. And the last thing you do is put the joystick knob back in place. It's gonna be screwed in there, so make sure you screwed it in far enough, tight you can be. Yeah, and bottom you have to hold this one so you can screw the joystick back in place. And that's almost done everything. And the lock knob, okay, you use your hand, you tight it as can be, and it's not going there anywhere, and then you line. Some of these already broke, but actually they have a little nipple out here to stop it from running all the way in, but this one doesn't have it, so you can put like that, and then that's for the lock. Bring it back, lock. Okay. That's just about it for taking apart the base of Zeiss 116.